Hello, everybody, and
Oh,
welcome to Above and Beyond
wait.
the.
We're gonna try something here
Oh,
today. Hold on, hold on,
okay,
hold on.
we are live. You know that, right?
Together with friends along the way, united with strength to face the day. We're together and now we're here to say, united we will be the change.
So you know we don't practice these things in advance, guys. So hello, everybody, and welcome to Above and Beyond the Accessibility and Inclusion podcast for National Accessibility Week, day 4 of 5. Looking forward to the conversation with Maddie. We're talking about language and communication, which is more than just using your voice. Conversation, and it is June 1st, guys. So happy Pride Month, Maddie. How you doing?
I'm I'm really glad that Pride Month is here, but really not happy with 35-degree weather. My hair is
Yeah,
all frizzy. It's just the humidity. I am now Mrs. Frizzle from Scholastic's school bus, Magic School Bus. There we go. Like
you
the
are
hair
melting.
is just
You are
I'm molting. I am molting is what's happening here.
Oh, okay,
Oh
molting.
yeah. Yes, it's the
So,
multiverse.
okay, so the conversation today, before we get into it, Maddie, I want to talk about, June 1st being Pride Day, and I know it's a very special day for you. So I give you the floor, friend, to just speak to that for a couple moments.
Yeah. It okay. This year especially, this month is important because there's been so much um it's like we've been fighting against hate in a way, hate against we've got homophobia, we've got transphobia, we've got pronoun phobia. There's just this like, the last 5 years, up until like the last 5 years, we've been seeing this win after win for rights, for LGBTQ rights, and we've been thinking that, oh my gosh, like the world is changing. We got a lot of support. Brands are out there supporting us. We're seeing more actual real representation in media. And then this last year, it's like all of the people that were previously just hiding in Twitter are now coming out in force, trying to shut it all down and strip away those rights, and even more than that, harm. There's just so much harm. Now, most of this is happening in the States, and I'm just watching what's happening in the States is just so hard to see, but we're still seeing it here in Canada. We still have a leader of a national party, Max Bernier, of the People Party, the People Purple, the Purple People Party. Um,
Purple
um,
People Leader?
oh my gosh, yeah, their leader. The first thing on the plank is to remove any possibility for trans to exist. And so like it's in Canada. I mean, I get a lot of I'm trans non-binary. That is how I identify, and I'm also bisexual slash pansexual, depending on. There's nuances, but yeah, most people understand bi, most people understand pan, so it's like, okay, queer is a better representation of me as a whole. And so I have the pride flag in my Twitter banner. I have This is actually, let me see if you can actually see the colors. Yeah, there we go. It's actually the non-binary flag that I wear behind here, but it's too close to the wall. You can't actually see all the colors. I try to make it very clear, uh, my identity. I wear they them pins to hopefully get people to think about it. But they them doesn't stop them from saying sir. I wish we could get sir and ma'am. and Mr. and Mrs. and all those things that are property titles out of our vocabulary. But anyways, Pride Month's important this year because we as a community really need to band together to be united against this hate that we've been seeing and suffering under for this last year. And we want to encourage brands and people and allies to support us and not pull back in fear of this far right and conservative, somewhat conservative um, movement that's trying to, bring back family values, bring back Canadian values. Well, if you ask the indigenous that were here before you white settlers, you would find that many of the things, they're far more accepting of things that we call LGBTQ IA plus now. Anyways, that's my spiel. So happy Pride! I'm gonna be. I got 5 new Pride shirts yesterday. I might be attempting to wear a different Pride shirt every day. As I'm gonna get my sister to make a couple other ones, and Autistic Pride Day is April 18th. Is June 18th. So it'll be a double Pride Day, and then we have Disability Pride Month in July. It's
In July.
Pride. Yeah, in July. So we've got 2 months of fun coming up.
Yeah, without question, Maddie, you have taught me a lot. I sit here today as somebody who is not perfect, but I do try very hard to respect your beliefs and respect your values. And so thank you for sharing that and that important message, because it is important to, allyship as a whole, as we continue National Accessibility Week here in Hamilton and all across Canada. We're talking about language and communication and not just your voice. And I think you hit the nail right on the head, Maddie, when you talked about it when it comes to pride, showing our actions. It's one thing to have a banner or a disclaimer that goes beyond, what you say, but actually, putting that into practice, putting that into action is really what the be all end all of it is for me. And I apologize, guys. I'm a little bit under the weather today, but we are battling through. I'm glad I am not on the disabled list, as they used to refer to it in baseball before. They've now changed it to injured list. So thank you, Major League Baseball, for doing that. I mean, that goes common practice with our conversation with communication and language and understanding the true meaning of these words and how they impact people. What do you think, Maddie?
Well, so yeah, words matter. It's something I've been thinking about, and I've had this conversation with some in the disability community. Like I really try to help people avoid using some cutesy different names instead of, it's just say disability. Disability is not a bad word. It's not a negative word. It's not a positive word. It's a neutral word. But we tend to use it. We tend to think of it. Not us two here, but the society tends to think that disability is a negative word because of the past negative associations. So they try to come up with euphemisms instead, or differently abled. Oh my God, I hate that one. No, I have, besides the disabilities that I have, I also have abilities. But when you say different abilities, you're negating the things that I'm actually struggling with. But some disabilities are the things that are disabling me are the barriers outside of me. And so you're really, when you're trying to be cutesy, you're not actually helping me. Which brings me to the conversation that many of us have been having, and we're totally going off our topic today. So I apologize. I don't think we're going to touch our topic because I know that Anthony has to run very shortly out in a few minutes. So
I got to roll
we're
here
just gonna,
shortly.
yeah,
See, speaking of communication, see what I did there?
exactly. Yeah. Oh, yes, that's how we roll.
So
Oh yeah,
no, but
here,
you're
I got one.
absolutely right,
Look at
Maddie.
that rollabouts. Yeah.
There you go. So
Yeah.
go ahead, Maddie.
So let's look at this here. National Accessibility Week 2023. Accessibility is causing a lot of people with disability consternation because it feels like another cutesy word. Accessibility with an I is what we want and need. Accessibility is allies trying to help us find positive stories about accessibility and inclusion, but we've changed the word, and it just it makes it doesn't help us deal with the reality. And so, yeah, I just when we're talking about words,
Yeah,
that's one that's
yeah.
like I've been thinking about it too. It's like, it's like I know what they're trying. I know what
With
they're trying. This is a government thing. I know they're trying to do something that's helpful and everything, and it's a week to focus on the positives. Yeah, yeah. It's just boom bah, but it undoes a little bit because we're not
I
talking about
totally,
all of the accessibility needs.
I certainly understand where you're coming from, Maddie, and there is a lot of work still to be done. The AODA came into practice June 13th, 2005, and we're coming on 18 years later because because we had a little mishap yesterday, thinking it was 20, but my math was wrong, and but it is what it is. So 18 years later, we are still struggling with the teeth of the AODA and understanding that communication and language is vital to attitudinal barriers. Biggest barriers,
Yeah,
we talk about this all the time, Maddie. Attitudes need to change. Accessibility means a lot to so many people. It almost as if it identifies the fact that the system isn't really broken. It's more so along the lines of continuing on to more ability, to more access, to more inclusion when we're not nearly close to where we need to be. I truly believe that, when accessibility and inclusion are at the forefront of the conversation, when they're talked about as a focus at the beginning, that's when we can truly call to action access needs and inclusion needs. It's and I will say that, Maddie, that one person with a disability is one person with a disability, and that needs to be understood from the perspective and the limelight of all our needs are different. We just need access to preserve our dignity, our respect, our integrity as human beings. Because when you put people with disability, which is the largest minority group and grows every day, the economy as a whole will thrive. People with disabilities are able to access jobs. People with disabilities are able to be part of the community, be consumers, go from point A to point B without the struggle. Yeah, we are 22% in Canada. Almost over 1 in 5 people identify as members of the disability community, and you said it, growing. So I guess the premise of this conversation and focus of this conversation today is, Maddie, it's like, how do we use our voices and how do we use beyond what is just our voice to get the message out?
I think that we need to do things like this. Things like this, Facebook Lives, podcast. We need to write. We need to connect with. We need to connect with politicians to let them know of the specific things that will improve. Well, and it's all about using the language that will positively move things for us. It's we as a disability community in at large, especially in Ontario, in a lot in Canada, we all seem to have our different thoughts about what our needs are, and ours is whatever our organization, whatever the people that we're supporting. Um, and I find that when we come together and and unite on the bigger arguments, the bigger needs, the more clear needs, that's when media hears us, that's when the public hears us, and that's when politicians hear us. And we saw that last year when almost all disability organizations focused on double ODSP now. Now, has it happened yet? No, but we did change the PC government to actually, increase it to 5% from before the election. It was zero. So we made change. We affected every party's platform, and we made the media constantly. We're still seeing a lot of the knock on effect on that. So I think we as a disability community really need to think, what are the clear things that we need to promote accessibility and inclusion. We have a government that doesn't like to talk a lot about money, but there's things we can get changed that will that are not money. It's not money, but time and energy that needs to get done. And I think we need to find a few of those that we can get the wins, so that we can show that we can get these things changed, that we can become inclusive, we can become accessible, and we can see the quality of life of people with disability improve.
Yeah, and what about the semblance of using the word investment rather than cost? Understanding the fact
exactly.
that when you invest, the return on investment, especially within the disabled community,
Yeah.
is invaluable. I mean, I've learned over the last years of advocacy that disability is an over $11 billion market within our community. Because that market
Yeah.
continues to grow, that number can continue to grow as well. We talk about the importance of, you utilizing the AODA, utilizing the Ontario Building Codes as, I don't even want to say a baseline, but like as and I'm going to say the word, Maddie, minimum standard. People with disabilities are not a minimum standard. People with disabilities are above and beyond. See what I did there? More
Yeah.
above and beyond that. So understanding that when you utilize us as assets, the community as a whole will thrive. Accessibility and inclusion encompasses everybody, and that's truly what needs to be understood and accepted, and truly that's where we can cultivate fundamental systemic and culture change when action takes precedence beyond the words we've used for what seems to be decades. A little too long, Matty. Kind of didn't work out.
Well.
That's all right, friend. So what's next? I think it's important that we just we conclude our live on like what's next. Well, Matty, no, what's next when it comes to language and communication?
Well, we need to. It's such a big talk, even broader than the 50 minutes we've been giving it today. It's getting our stories out. Getting our stories out, sharing with media, sharing with politicians, and trying to, while sharing the struggles, also share our lives. We're not our lives are not tragic. We may have had some tragic things happen to us, but our lives in total are not tragic. And we want to be able to hear the stories of people who are worthy of telling the stories, not just because they've done this amazing thing, but because they are a story of and being able to have stories told in language that's not so full of
Malarkey.
medical model malarkey, MMM.
So, at the end of the day, Maddie, you and I are just two people trying to get that message across and span the country. There are so many people worldwide. We celebrated Red Shirt yesterday. We celebrated the built environment, and we talked about transit earlier this week. So that leads us to our final live tomorrow, Maddie, which we will be talking about the hidden truth in disabilities. Not all disabilities are visible, and we want to be able to delve deeper into having that discussion. When you treat everybody with kindness and respect, the world will prosper. So really, that's going to be a lot of what we're talking about tomorrow. This was another great conversation with you, my friend. As always, you can catch us on Mondays at 5 p.m. on our Facebook Live at Above and Beyond Anthony Frazina, at autisticrambler.com, at anthonyfrazina.ca, at Above Beyond for You, at Anthony_Frazina, at Matt J. Dever, at Autistic Rambler on Facebook as well. Maddie, this is always a great having this conversation with you, friend, and I'm going to go grab a Kleenex because I got to sneeze.
Together with friends along the way, united with strength to face the day. We're together and now we're here to say, united we will be the change.
Take care, everybody.
Yeah.